Hey everyone, welcome to Live Coding with Jesse. I'm Jesse, and today we're going to work on the infinite scrolling for the search page. And I am in my office, but I'm on my laptop today. Stream health seems pretty good, so the network's good. So hopefully everything will work out. So on. It was probably unwise of me, but I started an update on my iMac, and I thought plenty of time for it to finish, but it's still not finished. So that's why I am using this laptop right now. But everything looks okay, and I'm just trying to get everything in position. Let's see. I have a certain setup for all my screens, so I wasn't expecting to do this, and I have different monitors hooked up than I normally do to my laptop. Okay, looks good now. Hey everyone, see some of you are in the chat. Also, I completely forgot to announce that I was doing this stream on Twitter and on Instagram, which I normally do. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. So, hopefully that won't be a problem. I know a lot of you subscribe to the channel, so you're getting the notifications anyway. And let's get started. Renato asked if this just started. It did. It just started. We haven't even done any coding yet. Let me switch over. Nope, that's not the screen I want. Okay. I'm going to have to add another screen here. And let's see. Display capture. There we are. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Let's add one more scene. Sorry, I'm messing with this. I just if you're just coming in, I'm on a different computer than I normally stream with in my office, so that's why it's a little messed up right now. Actually, I think I can just change this one. Video capture. Display capture. There we go. Let me just change this one. I'll have to remember to change it back when I stream from home. Okay, that's the right screen. Sorry about that. I'm going to make this a bit bigger so everyone can see. Oh, goodness. Yeah, this is definitely different on the sizes and stuff. There we go. Okay, it's all in there now. Okay, so hopefully that size will be good for you all, and you'll be able to see. I see there's some questions already in the live chat. I will get to your questions after we do a little bit of coding. So I'm going to set this Pomodoro timer. Whoops. And we're going to do one session of coding, and then we'll take a little break, and I'll get to the questions. So this is our search page. We haven't worked on this page for a while, and we got the basic functionality working. But there's one thing that we didn't do that we had talked about doing, and that was having this infinite scroll feature. So let's see, make sure this is still working. Yep, still working. Okay, so for right now, what we get when we search is the category I should say like the post type. So we're pulling in this data from WordPress, so we get what is essentially the post type in WordPress, and then we get the title of that post type. And we also have made that into a link. I don't think all the links work though. And we're not going to worry about that today. What we do want to do is make sure that once we scroll down, we'll do another search and get more results. So this is going to be a little bit tricky. Let me go to the code and show you how we're doing what we're doing, in case you didn't see that stream. It was at least a month ago, I think. And so show you how we're doing what we're doing, and then what we need to do to get there. We'll try to break it down into small steps and then see how many we can get through. So this is something that I've done before on a non-React project. So this will be interesting to see how we're going to do this with React. I don't think I have this. Yep, there it is. I did have this page open. Okay, let's shut this side drawer to give us some space. Okay. And if you want to follow along with the code, check out the GitHub repo. The link is in the description. And I'll just start from the top and just give a very brief explanation of what's going on here. So we have this utility that we've made. Sorry. That just basically is a wrapper around the fetch API. Okay, so the fetch API that's in the browser. And we're pulling it in as get.json. So when you see that, basically all it's doing is just using fetch to get data and returning it to us in JSON format. So now let's go down a bit and see, what kind of data we're getting. So this is what we're using to actually make the call. This is our base URL to our WordPress installation. And we can reach the WordPress API endpoints by going to wp-json/wp/v2. And then after that, we have a plugin running in our WordPress installation called multiple post type, which allows us to fetch data from multiple post types. So that's what this part means. Now we set the per page to 100. That means we get 100 results per search. This is the maximum that you can get with WordPress. I don't know. I've never come across a way to get more than that. So for now, we're just going to assume that that is the maximum that we can get in one go. Which is not bad. I mean, it ensures that there's not an overwhelming amount of data coming in. So I can live with that for now. And then we search for a specific term. And we also have some filters, right, over what type of data we want. So that would be these, right? So we can choose to get all the data from every post type, or we can just search a particular post type. Okay, and then we have some sorting going on, which really isn't going to affect what we're doing right now too much. So what we need to do then, when we scroll down to a certain point in the page, so let's say we've done a search, and in reality there are 500 results. We're only going to display 100 of those results to the user at first. But once we scroll down to a certain point on the page, we want to grab the next 100 results. and then we scroll down more, we want to get the next 100 results. And we want that to happen in the background, preferably in a way to where the user may not even realize that more data is being fetched, so they can just scroll and it's seamless. So, I mean, we'll have to mess around with the timing on that. I mean, I don't want to unnecessarily fetch more. So, if we set it to just get the data, let's say if we scroll here, maybe a little early. But, if we wait too long, then the user will have to wait. And if maybe they're on a slow connection, maybe they won't even realize. Maybe they'll scroll back up before the data even comes through. They don't realize that there's more. So maybe about here is the point where we want to fetch new data. Obviously, if a user's scrolling very, very quickly, they're still going to make it to the bottom before that data, appears. But that's the goal. So we're going to have to, just to kind of break this down, what we need to do first is be able to track the position on the page and be able to call a function when a certain position is reached. Once that happens, what we have to do is just modify this fetch search term function to be able to grab the next 100. So I think we'll just modify this to do that. I thought maybe we could just make a whole nother function, and we'll see. It depends. I don't want this function to get really huge and hard to think about, so we'll see. If it does get like that, maybe we'll break it out separately. So first things first, let's track the scroll in React. So I have not sorry, I'm getting messages. I have not done this. I don't think I've done this in React yet. If I have, it's been a while and I don't really remember. Okay, so we're using Material UI. So the first thing I want to do is see if Material UI has any solutions for us built in before I go elsewhere and either try to find a package that does it or we just try to make something on our own. So let's see, scroll. Now they have these scroll buttons. No. I was hoping that scrolls by. Ooh, you know what? I remember where we've done this before. Let's check out one of our previous projects. So I'm going to go into GitHub here and laptop's running a bit slow. If my main computer turns back on, I could switch over to that if this is too slow. I mean, if it only takes a few minutes, then it may be worth it. What was it at? Resource Center, right? Yes, Resource Center. Okay, so in this project of the Resource Center, let's bring this up right now, just to give you an idea of what's happening when we actually see that code. So let's see. I think it'd be in the views. Let's see. Planning guide. think it's, yep, here it is. Okay, so if you can see, I know it's a little small. Let me zoom in. Here we go. So we have this menu on the side here, and as we scroll, things change. It's hard to tell when I'm zoomed out. The zoom messes up the scroll. So as we scroll, it changes to show us, where we're at in the site. And I messed up the scroll. So, and if we click somewhere, then we can get the two different places on the page. Which, yeah. Oh wow, I don't know what I did, but I think all my zooming messed this up. Anyway, we're going to try to adapt what we've done here to track the scroll. So let's figure out where that's at. Resource planning guide, that's it. So we'll go into here, and this is all on GitHub. It's public, so you can check that out. In the FUS Marcom GitHub organization, you can go to Resource Center, check it out. Actually, why not just copy? I'm going to copy this into the live chat now, so you can go right there. If you click that and you get an error, then try copying and pasting that. If for some reason in the live chat, links sometimes give errors when you try to click on them. All right, so let's see. This might be the component that we created for this, so we may have to check out that as well. Let's see. HandleScroll, Throttle. Great. Okay, so we are tracking scroll with props. Okay. Is it this? Yeah, it's not in state. All right. Mount. Okay, so we're adding an event listener on the component Dbounce. Okay. All right, let's copy over a lot of this, and then we'll adjust it as needed. So first things first. I guess let's grab all of this. Let me zoom out, it'll be easier for me to grab it all. Alright, wow. This is already quite a large component. At some point this would be a good candidate for refactoring. So we have a lot going on in here. Alright, so perhaps let's go to the bottom here. Okay, so here's everything, but obviously we're gonna change this up. Because we're not using our constructor here. So let's put this in our state that we're already using. Okay, so now we have this is say y. That's weird. I don't know why it's giving us. We should be able to set that to an empty array. That's the state, so let's get rid of this. But let's say, alright, so we'll do this in a different way. Let me check my time here. I don't want to. Alright, we still have about 9 minutes. And we want to throttle how we do the scroll. So we don't, basically whatever we're going to do when we track the scroll, we don't want that to happen over and over and over again, you know, very quickly. We want to throttle that. And I believe we're already using throttle, so let me double check. We should be bringing, oh, okay, we're using Dbounce. Alright, let's see. I think we should be able to bring in, let's check our package JSON and see what we're bringing in. If we just brought in, yeah, we just brought in Dbounce. Alright, so I guess we can bring in throttle as well. So let's do yarn add Lodash. I think this should work. We'll find out in a second. Yep, that's working. Okay, so we're pulling in that package. Lodash is like a collection of helpers. So there are certain things that are, I don't know, basic things that you might want to do, you know, common things, that instead of coming up with your own solution, you know, you can just pull these things in from Lodash. Very helpful. Basically, both Dbounce, I'm not going to get into the difference between Dbounce and Throttle right now, but essentially you use them for pretty much the same purpose, in that you want to stop a function from happening too quickly, you know, too many times, when it's really unnecessary that it would happen that many times. So let's change this throttle. Okay, so now we will be able to use that, and I want to see how we're using Dbounce, and then just follow that same pattern. There we are. Dbounce search equals Dbounce. Okay, great. So scroll down. HandleScroll. There we are. Okay, so we're just going to say HandleScroll equals, whoops, let's double check that. We need even more space than we had before. There we are. Dbounce search results equal Dbounce search equals Dbounce. Okay, I thought that looked the same. So what's our problem down here? That's odd. Are we using this somewhere else? Okay, that's why. Okay. So let's call this throttle scroll. What's that? Yeah, so we want to instead of calling HandleScroll, I guess we'll call Throttle Scroll. All right. Okay, so let's think out loud about this. So what we are doing, I gotta double check we already aren't using component did mount somewhere, but what we are doing is when the component mounts, we're adding an event listener, so scroll event listener, and on scroll we're calling throttle scroll. So every time there's a scroll, we are, let's see, there we are. So every time there is a scroll, hopefully this little squiggly line will go away. But every time there's a scroll, we're gonna throttle, right? So we're not going to allow this function to go off every single time. There's going to be a delay, but every time, not every single pixel is scrolled, but a reasonable amount of scrolling will occur, and then this dot handle scroll will be called. Handle scroll then is going to give us the position, the Y position, right? And that's going to save that to state. Now, what we don't need here is this active key, right? Because that was telling us what section we were in for the scroll spy. We don't need that. So we can remove that, this part of it, and instead we're going to write a little to-do so we remember. And instead what we want to do is say if scroll is close to bottom, then search. Okay, so if we're a certain amount of time from the bottom, then we're going to search for those next 100 or next however many is left, right? If it's less than 100, we're obviously going to get that lesser number. Okay, so haven't really tested anything yet, but logically this is working. So could still have syntax errors, could potentially even have logic errors, but that's going to be for the next Pomodoro session. So right now, my timer went off. I'm going to take a short break, and I'm going to answer questions. Let's see. Hey everyone, is there a lot of people saying hi? I see some new names that I haven't seen before, so welcome. All right, Abhishek says, I want advice regarding where to start my learning. I've completed basic JavaScript. Abhishek, so are you then going through the Free Code Camp curriculum now? Did you complete that basic JavaScript portion, or are you just saying like in general you have knowledge of the basics of JavaScript? I mean, I would, if you aren't already doing it, I recommend going through the Free Code Camp curriculum at freeCodeCamp.org. Udacity also has some free online courses that are good. There's certainly a lot of good videos on YouTube. So Free Code Camp has great, tutorial videos. But there are some other YouTube channels that have good videos as well. I know Learn Code Academy was a good resource. It has been a good resource for me. And if you like books, learn, what is it called? Eloquent JavaScript. So Eloquent JavaScript is a good book, and you can read that for free online. And then You Don't Know JS is a book series that you can also read for free online on GitHub. Let's see. Fox Wanted asks, "Are you currently at work?" I am. I'm in my office at work. I work at Franciscan University. It's a small university in Ohio. All right. Divya says, "Hi Jesse, how are you?" Not bad, not too bad. How are you doing? Roderick says, "Learning a lot on Free Code Camp." Awesome, glad to hear it. Let's see. All right, looks like there's some discussion about someone's computer in here. Sergio says, "Hello, Jesse. Hope you're doing fine." Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I hope you are doing all right as well. Michael says, "Gotta go to the doctor, but I have been playing with implementing the search with GraphQL. It's hard due to the weird URL structures, but I'm making progress. Plus, you can use fetch more for scrolling." Oh, interesting. I like that. So anyway, Michael, well, thanks for stopping by for the stream a little bit. I hope everything's all right, and good luck. Good luck at the doctor. Dimitri says hi. It's nice to see you. I'm glad to see you in the chat too, as well, Dimitri. Let's see. Yusuf says, "Why not install the whole Lodash library?" Yusuf, basically because I don't need most of what's in Lodash. I really don't need. So I just install the pieces that I need. If it got to the point where I was using most of Lodash, then it would probably be easier just to install everything. But right now, it's, I just need two things from there. Also, my stomach is growling. So if you hear that, I'm sorry. That is my stomach growling. I guess I need to eat. Poolkit says, "Sir, I have done intermediate development in Node.js for backend. What more could I try out for web apps?" I mean, there's a lot. I mean, it's kind of like a difficult question. There's so many things that you could try out. If you want to get into more like database stuff. Sorry about the yawn. You could try like SQL based or NoSQL databases. Maybe try to set up GraphQL and use that. If you want to get more into front end, then maybe check out a framework or a library like React or Vue or Angular. So I guess it kind of really depends on like what direction you want to go in. But I guess just to name a few things, those wouldn't be a bad place to start. Kelman asks, what are the best books for learning Python? Unfortunately, I am not that familiar with Python, so I don't really have any book recommendations. I've never read any Python books, so if someone else watching now has some experience with Python, in particular with good books for Python, please put that in the live chat now or in the comments if you're watching this later on. Okay, so my timer is up, as you all can see. So let's do another 25-minute session, Pomodoro session, and then we will. Hey, cool. No errors. I was afraid that I had broken it like to the point where we wouldn't even see anything, but I guess I haven't. So that's cool. Yeah. So let's kind of try to test out what we've been doing, and really we could probably just put a console log in here for now. I don't like to do too much without testing first because if you code a lot and then test after, it's harder to figure out where the problem is. So this is actually a bit more than I normally do before I test, but since we copied over so much, it really didn't have a chance to test it. So I'm just going to do a console log, and let's just say scroll. We're just going to have it say scroll, and then that way we can see. So this state scroll y is greater than position minus 1. Where's position? This state, each state header position. Okay, we may be able to simplify this a bit more. Yeah, let's get rid of this each. I don't think we need that. So let's take out these and then take out this each. So, I mean, this simplifying and getting rid of any code at all in this huge component is definitely a plus. All right, so now we'll just say HandleScroll this set state scroll y is going to equal window.scroll y. Okay, wonderful. And then now say if this state scroll y is greater than position minus 1. So we don't really want position minus 1. Instead, what we want to get, and let's change this up. Let's say instead of position minus 1, let's say bottom minus let's say 500. Okay, so it would be like 500 pixels. Not really sure if that's a reasonable amount right now, but we're just trying it out. Hey, I just see Anna's here. Hey Anna, how's it going? Thanks for watching. Okay, so if the scroll y is greater than the bottom of the value of the bottom of the screen minus 500, then we're going to console log scroll. Also, the set headers we can completely get rid of because we're not worried about the headers anymore. And handle next. I don't think we're going to need handle next, so let's get rid of that as well. It just feels so good to get rid of code you're not using. And let's see, scroll, throttle, scroll. Okay, wonderful. We've gotten rid of that red line. Handle scroll. Okay, so this is going to be called when we scroll. And let's change our state a bit, clean it up, because now there's things in state that we do not need. So let's get rid of header positions and also active section. But we do need to know let's see. We need to know what the bottom, like how tall the screen is. So how do we find that out? Let's see. Window height. Let's just try it out. Let's go in the DevTools console and just see. It's most definitely taking a long time. Alright, come on, console. Alright, so let's see, window dot height. Wow. Oh, goodness. Oh, I accidentally clicked on one of those links, I suppose. So that messed things up. Alright. Expected a function. My. It shouldn't be firing low-dash. Alright, let's see what our problem is. What did we even change from the last time? I mean, all we did was just get rid of things, right? Let's see. Hmm. Don Xavier says, try window inner height. Oh, okay. I'll try that if I can get a page to load here. Alright, so something is messed up here. Alright, let's make sure. So it looks like, so low dash throttle is expecting a function. So you run throttle, this handle scroll. I mean, that's a function, right? Let's see how we're doing it up here. I mean, is it, let's see. I mean, maybe it's the order. I guess I wouldn't have thought it would have mattered, but we are trying to call HandleScroll before we get down there. I don't think this is the problem, but it's worth a shot. Okay, so let's save that and a little refresh. Super asks, why are we using Throttle? And we are using Dbounce to add a delay to API calls. Yeah, so Dbounce, hey, it worked. Yeah, Dbounce is for the API calls to a delay, and then what the heck? No, log page view is not. Oh, I know. Yes, of course, log page view is not defined. I copied over stuff that we don't even have. So we will eventually put analytics in. We don't have that set up right now, so that was our other error. And then, yeah, to answer your question, to use Throttle, we're slowing down the amount of times that we run things on scroll. Okay. All right, cool. No errors? No errors? We're good? All right, so now what we want to look for, let's get rid of all this stuff in the console. We want to see a scroll. Well, let's see. Let's get some data here. Oops. We never set the value of bottom, did we? Nope, we never set that. All right, let's set the value of bottom. So what I'd like to do is set the value. Oh, that's why, because we were testing it out. That's what happened. Window dots inner heights. Nice. Okay, so that's our inner height. So this is how we can get that. So let's go back here and let's make, I guess we'll, let's put it in state. Let's go window height, and we'll just set it at 0 for now. And then after we fetch, should we reset window height after we fetch a search term? You know what, let's get the window height on scroll. So that way, if I was going to get the window height whenever we run the search, but if a user happens to change their screen width, which most users don't do that, right? I mean, developers do that a lot because we want to see that, but potentially, like let's say on a phone, they could go from portrait to landscape, which would definitely change the height. So then that way, like every time the user scrolls, it will get the height again. So I don't think that'll be too difficult performance-wise. If we notice there's some weirdness going on, then we could always rethink that. At this point, we're just trying to get it to work. We can always optimize later if necessary. All right, where is my handle scroll? There we go. Okay, so this set state. Yeah, so let's just grab this. Let's see, I believe, can we set this? And then, what did we call this? Window. Nope. Window height. And window dot inner height. Okay. You can do that, right? Can I set two different things in state in the same set state thing? I'll find out in a second. Okay, so since we're getting window height, now we're not going to say bottom, right? We're going to say window this state window height. Could probably destructure some of this so we don't have to keep doing this state, but that can happen when we refactor. Okay. So let me make sure this is all loaded by refreshing. Okay, this looks almost refreshed. There we are. There we go. So let's search. We'll do search first. And we should, oh, there we are. We got to scroll, scroll, scroll. Okay. Maybe 500 isn't the best. Oh, Morton says, I think you misspelled window. I did. Window. Window height. There we are. Let's make sure. Okay. All right, we have the correct height now. Yeah, still not acting the same. I'm gonna have to do a refresh again. I hate to keep doing these refreshes because they take forever, but it's just, this laptop is just slow. Hamemi says, hey Jesse, how's it going? Not too bad, how you doing? Thanks for joining us in the live chat. All right. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Yeah, so you see, we're not getting, I don't know if you can see what's in the console over there. I know it's getting blocked partially by my face. So we don't actually get the console log of the word scroll until we get closer to the bottom of the page. So that is working. Just a few observations here of problems that we might have is it's working, but it's calling that like every single time we stop scrolling like below that point. So that's not what we want, because then we'd be making a ton of API calls to fetch the same data. So that's no good. I wonder how did I handle this? Let me check my time. Oh, 5 minutes. All right, I don't have time to do this. So what I think I'm going to do for that particular issue is I'm going to go back to a project I did over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, where I implemented some of this just using JavaScript, jQuery. I want to see how I handled that issue and see if it can be easily adapted to our situation. Because I was using the WordPress API, and I need to go back there and look at what the correct syntax is for getting the next set of data anyway. So I don't have time right now in this Pomodoro session. I don't really want to do a lot of research during the stream. So that's going to be something that I look up, and then maybe we'll finish on the next stream, or maybe I'll just go over what I did to make that work on the next screen. But for now, I just keep accidentally clicking things. What? I hope I didn't make the link stretch like all the way across the page inadvertently. Oh well, I'll check that out later. So, if the scroll is close to the bottom, then search. So, what we would want to do is, it would be a little bit of a different type of search, right? Because we're going to search the same terms that we just had. So the search term is actually saved in state, so that's good. So we're just going to call fetch search term, or we're going to call dbounced search, right? I guess we don't have to. We could probably call fetch search term directly. Either way, it doesn't matter. We're going to call that, and then it's automatically going to be able to get that search term. But then what's going to need to happen is there needs to be some sort of check, maybe just a simple if statement or a ternary, something like that, that's going to say, we'll probably add something else to state here, like, what should it be? Scroll search. Let's just say for now, I'm just kind of thinking of what we'll need. Let's say like scroll search false would be default, but then once it flips to true, then we know that the search is going to be, we're going to need the next set of values. So perhaps maybe result count would start at 0, and then we would keep track of how many results we've already had. Okay, so this may change. I'm going to go back and check my old code. I really don't want to reinvent the wheel. I remember spending a lot of time on making this work, and it still works. I mean, it's kind of spaghetti code jQuery, but it's been working for at least a year. I think at this point more than a year. So I know it works. So I'm going to grab that, but we're definitely going to need some way to keep track of like where we're at, so we know what to search for next. And then we also need to know, wait, when this runs, this function needs to know, like, okay, am I just going to do my normal search, or like what am I going to need? And so I mean that it may be as simple as just adding on another value here, and if you know we can make that value, instead of a true false, it could just be the value. So it could be an empty string if there's nothing, or it could actually have something in there if we are going to do a scroll search. So maybe able to simplify that a bit. I think my timer's about to be up. Yeah, 8 seconds. All right, so I'm going to go back to the live chat. I'm going to answer some questions. So let me scroll up a bit. Okay, so we have a question from Poolkit. It says, I have tried out some libraries and frameworks like React. So in general, some example of projects I could start out with. Okay, so you'd like example project. If I were you and just wanted some example projects, check out freeCodeCamp.org and go to some of their projects and try to build those projects in whatever framework you want. So if you were testing different frameworks, you could take, like for instance, the weather app project. And you could try to build a weather app in Vue and build it in React and build it in Angular. It's a simple enough project that it wouldn't take all your time to build those 3 apps, different ones, just to get a feel for them, or just practice with whatever framework. And you could certainly build it without any framework at all. But that's where I check for projects, because the project ideas are there, but then it's also like pretty detailed. Like these are the user stories that need to be fulfilled. So if you're kind of just looking for guidance for practice, that's very helpful. Yelu Kiran, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Please let me know how to pronounce it. But Yelu Kiran says, I'm new to React, but I can't understand state and props. I'm being confused. Okay, let's go over state and props a little bit then. So this component does have state, so I guess we'll start here. It may be a bit complex. But state, for a component, they're just basically variables that we're saving to that component that could change based on, I mean, pretty much like anything that could happen on a page, user interactions, or whatever type of event that can be tracked on a page could potentially be part of state. State could even have data in it, like we're doing here. So state changes in response to getting new data. Now the cool thing about state in React is that anytime state changes, it re-renders the component. So we don't have to worry, like for instance, if we were using vanilla JavaScript or jQuery or something, and like let's say we make an API call, we get back data, then we have to insert that data into the page. So we have to have some way to, like, okay, let's wait for the data, and then now let's select where we want that data to go and insert it into the page. So with React, we don't worry about that. We just say if the data is there, then render it out. If it's not there, don't do anything. And every single time something in state changes, it's just going to check. And it's going to say, okay, do we have data? No? All right, cool. Oh, we do have data. All right, let's put it on the page. So that's where state comes into play in React, as opposed to props. Props are basically values that you pass down to a component. And so let's find a good example of props. I'd like to find somewhere that would be a little bit more simple. Maybe in the drawer. Let's see if we have something. Drawer item. Okay, yeah. Okay, so in this is a parent component called drawer.js, and we're passing down props, right? So we've created all these props. So one of them is toggle drawer. So we're actually passing down this value, this toggle drawer value, and I believe, yeah, that's actually a function. So we're passing down a function as a prop, which is really cool. So it can be used by this child component. We're passing down expand item as well. We're passing down an ID. And in this case, we're just passing down a string, just a regular string. We're passing down text, all right, and we're passing down some data, right? So we're passing down this admissions menu, which is just an array of objects, and then we're passing down the value for is open, and this is going to be a boolean, a true or false. So let's go into drawer item and see what can change based on these. So in drawer item, we have all these props, and let's see what happens. So if you see, we can use expand item. So for this list item, on click, it calls expand item, which has been passed down. So it'll reach up the component chain to the parent component that actually has that function, and it will run, right? And it'll change the state of that parent component, and then that state will be passed down and eventually change what's happening. So we'll know whether or not, like for instance, this collapsible menu, it'll change the state of is open, right, once we click on that, from false to true. Now, this collapsible list will be open. You can see also that primary text that we saw we passed in as props, this is getting passed down to props to another component, and that's going to determine the actual text that users see for that component. The value of the prop is open, whether it's true or false, is also going to determine on which of these components actually even gets rendered. All right, so these are, I guess I could show you. So the components that we've been dealing with here are these ones here. So this is the state that's happening, whether or not this is open or closed, and which icon gets rendered. All right, and we have other examples here. So that toggle drawer, the toggle drawer function actually toggles whether or not that side drawer is open or closed. And let's see. I mean, that's a lot of examples, so I don't want to get too confusing with all of this, but that's basically it. So if you want to give a value to a component when you're using that component, right, that's a prop. You pass in a property, okay? If you want a component to be able to re-render based on something, based on some value, then you use state. When you do use state, never change it directly. Always use set state. So you're going to use this set state. If you don't use this set state, React will not know that state has changed, and so you won't get that re-render, and there'll be a discrepancy, and so you don't want that to happen. So always use this set state to change state. If you've come from trying to build something with vanilla JavaScript or jQuery and manage state like manually, and then come into React, you can really appreciate just how nice it is to have things like taken care of like that and very organized. So I'm not sure if that was a great introduction to state and props. I'm sure I'm missing things. So help me out in the live chat if I've missed something or if I said something wrong. But hopefully that Can it maybe put you on the right track to understanding state and props a bit more? Dimitri says, Jesse, I see you're a little tired. Yeah, actually, I had a hard time falling asleep last night. So I even took like melatonin, supposed to help you sleep, and I still had trouble falling asleep. So I didn't get my normal amount of sleep. I didn't get to exercise this morning. So yeah, just a little tired. I didn't get to eat breakfast. So there's like all these things happen that contributed to my probably looking really tired right now and feeling tired. Um, yeah, so hopefully I can get to bed at a decent hour tonight. Supra said, "Is this project open source?" It sure is. Yeah, so just check out the link in the GitHub repo. Feel free to use any of the code however you want. I also really enjoy it if you all have advice, open up an issue, or if you want to open a pull request. I'd be happy to work with you, especially if you're new and really want to get your first pull request in. Let me know. I'll help you find something to work on. Check out the open issues already, and I can help work you through that process. I know it's pretty intimidating submitting your first pull request, so I'd like to help you through that. Maybe if you submit a pull request or two, even if it's small, then you can kind of get used to the flow of it, gain some confidence, and go out and work on some open source project that you would really like to be a part of. Let's see. Monkey Man says, "I'm still learning HTML." Well, good for you. Keep up with it. You'll get through HTML and you'll get into CSS and JavaScript before you know it. Hamemi says, "What are those warnings?" When I upgraded to a newer version of Material UI, some things, the way things were named, changed, and so I'm getting warnings about that. So I just need to switch over to the newer way of naming things, and then that'll get rid of the warnings. So that's why I'm not that worried about it right now. I know what they are, and I know how to fix it. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. So that's actually something, I believe there's an issue open for that now. So that's something that would be helpful if someone wanted to submit a pull request for that. Otherwise, I mean, I'll get around to fixing it at some point. There's probably a newer version of Material UI out that I need to upgrade to anyway. It seems like they update very frequently, which is great. I love that. Raul says, Jesse, I have a major problem. My website's mobile version is redirecting into some other websites. Whoa. Raul says, do you know how to make it all right again? Please help. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely have to see the website. So I don't know if you want to. You may not want to send details about it in the live chat here. You send me a DM on Twitter. You can find. I think my Twitter's in the description. If not, go to my YouTube channel. The link to that is in the description, and I think my Twitter's linked from there. I think it's just Jesse R. Weigel is my Twitter handle, but. Send me a DM or something with the info, because I really have no idea without seeing more of the details. Let's see. John Kane says, I lost my place. John Kane says, are you using a subdomain for mobile or just media queries? Okay, so it looks like John's trying to help out Raul with the issue. Carlos says, what framework are you using? Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna skip through a bit of this. You all can check it out in the chat, in the live chat, if you want. But I'm gonna skip through here, find some more questions. Yeah, actually reading through some of this, right? Well, yeah, I think somebody got into your site and is, yeah. Oh goodness. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, you have some malicious stuff going on with your site, so that stuff's going to need to be removed. So definitely remove any plugins that you think are causing that. I've dealt with some of this stuff with WordPress before. It can be tricky to find where all of it is. I've dealt with things where like the actual. Anyway, it's hard to. I don't want to say too much or the wrong thing until I know more of the details. But yeah, it's you need to get rid of all the infected files, or that's not going to stop. And you may get rid of some of it, and it will come back. And that means you haven't really gotten like everything, so it can be a bit tricky to find it. Um, Carlos recommends Sucuri security scanner. Yeah, that's a good scanner. I've used that before. Oh, okay. John Hansen's here. Hey, John, how's it going? John says the new React get derived state from props lifecycle method could help build your component that won't cause any page data reloads when it calls your page scroll function that changes the state. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. Thanks for that. Yeah, I haven't looked at that lifecycle function at all yet. I'll check it out. Jojo says how to prevent from DDoS attacks. So it's distributed denial of service attacks. Um, probably the easiest way to help protect that is use like something like Cloudflare, right? Use a CDN, and they have a lot of built-in protections. So it won't like guarantee that you'd be fine no matter what, but if you don't want to try to become an expert at doing your own security, then I would say that's use something like that, and let them handle it. So that would be my advice. I mean, if you wanted to get deeper into it, I'm sure there's a lot of other things you could do on your site, but um, really, like I wonder how worth it is, unless that's something you really want to learn and get into. Carlos says, I don't think DDoS attacks can be prevented. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, that's a good point, Carlos. So the original question was how to prevent DDoS attacks. Yeah, you can't prevent the DDoS attack, right? Somebody can try it if they want to. But what you can do is take steps to make sure that if it happens, it won't mess up your site too badly, right? It won't slow everything down to the point where your site becomes unusable. And that's where something like a CDN would be helpful. Hey, Harshit's here. How's it going, Harshit? Mario says, is the repo for this project final or a work in progress? Oh, most definitely a work in progress. Um, Del Tuable says, I have heard services like Cloudflare help prevent DDoS. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't see that comment first. But yeah, for sure. They can be helpful. I mean, if you don't have that and you notice you are receiving like a DDoS attack, you can like manually go in, try to check what IP addresses that this is coming from, and then block those IP addresses. So like worst case scenario, and it happens, and you have no protections, you can do that. It depending on how big of an attack it is, like it may or may not help. it won't hurt anything to try. But I've done it before, and it lessens the severity depending on like how quickly you can keep. The problem is like it just depends, right? If somebody wants to spend the money to be able to do a really big attack, it could come from a lot of different IP addresses, right? But if it's a small attack, it's only coming from a few IP addresses. You may successfully be able to block those IP addresses and mitigate the attack. So yeah, so I mean, like definitely like try to get hooked up with Cloudflare or another CDN that offers some protection, and then if it happens, then you can try to manually like see where the traffic's coming and then block IP addresses. Okay. All right, well, I've gotten to the end of the questions, so I am going to end the stream now. We worked through a bit, right? We didn't get everything finished, but that's all right. We've come up with a process. We have kind of the next steps already thought out. So this will, let's see, we'll do this. I'm going to say that, well, I'll try to get this working. If for some reason we get stuck and it's really taking a long time, we always have a fallback of just having a load more button at the bottom, which is much easier to implement because we don't have to worry about scrolling. We don't have to worry about things going off like multiple times. So we could always implement that. I think the infinite scroll is a little bit more convenient to the user. They don't have to click. But we have a fallback. So no matter what, some sort of way to get more search results will happen. It will be implemented. So I think we'll be fine. I say that because we're going to launch this on June 4th. So we got to really be conscious of time here. And like, is this feature, how long is it going to take to implement a feature, and is it worth it? Could we do something that is good but not great just to get a feature in before launch, right? So that's kind of what we have to think about now. So I think this falls into that category of the infinite searches would be awesome, or the infinite scroll would be awesome, but we do have a fallback if it starts to take too long. Jojo says, thank you, thanks all, thank you very much. You're welcome. Hopefully the advice helps you out. All right, so I will see you all. I'll probably be streaming from home tomorrow, so I'm not sure what time exactly, but subscribe to this channel and you should turn on your notifications and you should get an alert before I stream. If you want to follow me on Twitter and or Instagram, I do try to put up messages letting you all know when I'm going to stream on there as well. So if you prefer to find out through those social media channels, feel free to follow me there as well. So until tomorrow, have a wonderful day.